Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to give you 10 latest defense updates. Number 1. Indian Navy estimates that the super aircraft carrier will cost $5 billion. Indian Navy, while it is pushing hard to make another Vikrant class aircraft carrier at an estimated cost of 23,000 crores, that is $2.9 billion, but also has plans to develop a super aircraft carrier that will have 21,000 tons more displacement than the Vikrant class aircraft carrier in near future. Vikrant class aircraft carrier has a displacement of just over 44,000 tons. Super aircraft carrier under consideration will have a displacement of over 65,000 tons, and as per Navy estimate will cost over $5 billion, considering it will feature more advancement due to catabar configuration. Next, SAB guarantees Gripen E availability in the IAF will be 90%. Breaching the Indian Air Force's mandatory 75% availability rate for contenders in India's $20 billion multi-role fighter aircraft program. According to SAB officials who spoke with IDRW, the Gripen E, an offer to the IAF, will have 90% availability rate across its fleet of 114 jets as a commitment from the company when it responds to the IAF's yet to be issued RFP. Next, Boeing is ready to move F-18 production to India with conditions. Boeing, that is planning to close down the production line of its F-18EF Super Hornet facility in St. Louis by 2025 and is willing to move it to India if the Indian Navy agrees to produce the originally intended order of 57 jets under multi-role carrier borne fighters MRCBF tender, instead of the reduced number of 26 jets. Navy Chief Admiral Hari Kumar recently said that both the F-18 and the Rafale fighter are being found acceptable by the Indian Navy for the indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant. The Navy is looking to see how much commonality there will be vis-a-vis the Indian Air Force Rafale. Next, NRT delivers Nimbus and Beluga swarm drones to Indian Army. Bangalore-based New Space Research and Technologies Private Limited, that is NRT, has delivered two types of UAV, a Beluga hexacopter and the Nimbus Mk3 quadcopter, to the Indian Army as part of the 100 swarm drone contract that it secured from the Indian Army in 2021. The last shipment of the swarm drone was completed last week. NRT is expecting the possibility of more orders coming soon for its Beluga and Nimbus hexacopter that feature a 50-kilometer radius of operation and 3H endurance. Next, military expansion increasing risk of conflict between India and China. Expanded military postures by both India and China along the disputed border elevate the risk of armed confrontation between the two nuclear powers, according to the annual threat assessment of the U.S. intelligence community. This might involve direct threats to U.S. persons and interests and calls for U.S. intervention, according to the U.S. intelligence report. The report said that Indo-China relations will remain strained in wake of the country's lethal clash in 2020, the most serious in decades. Next, NISAR Satellites, which is an Indo-US jointly developed satellite, is received by ISRO. The US Air Force C-17 aircraft landed in Bangalore on Wednesday and handed over NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar, that is NISAR, to the Indian Space Agency, which marks a milestone in the US-India ties in space collaboration. Next, Turkish lawyer who accused India of war crimes in Kashmir admits links to Qatargate suspects. A prominent Turkish human rights legal consultant who had accused India of war crimes against Kashmiri Muslims has admitted that he paid one of the suspects in the European Parliament corruption scandal for ethical lobbying services that include resolutions condemning war crimes in Syria and Yemen, the Financial Times reported. Hakan Camus, UK-based law firm Stroke White had last year filed cases against top Indian officials accusing them of war crimes against Kashmiri Muslims. Next, MEA Under Secretary at UN said, entire Union territory of J&K, Ladakh, an integral, inalienable part of India. Ministry of External Affairs Under Secretary Jagpreet Kaur on Wednesday said the entire Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is an integral and inalienable part of India. We reject the factually incorrect and unwarranted references to India in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation statement. The entire territory of Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is an integral and inalienable part of OIC, has host its credibility by taking a blatantly partisan and factually incorrect approach on this issue. Next, India's oil deals with Russia dent decades-old dollar dominance. US-led international sanctions on Russia have begun to erode the dollar's decades-old dominance of international oil trade, as most deal with India, Russia's top outlet for seaborne crude, have been settled in other currencies. The dollar's preeminence has periodically been called into question, and yet it has continued because of the overwhelming advantage of using the most widely accepted currency for business. Next, suspected spy pigeon with camera fitted on leg caught in Odisha. A pigeon fitted with devices which appeared to be a camera and microchip was caught from a fishing boat off the Paradise coast of Odisha, Jagat Singhpur district, with the police suspecting that the bird was being used for spying. Some fishermen found the pigeon perched on their trawler while fishing in the sea a few days ago. The bird was captured and handed over to the Marine Police here on Wednesday. Next, is India drifting away from the United States? Opinion. You can comment on this. India last week stepped up its negotiations with the US aimed at continuing to import as much oil from Russia as it requires, regardless of current and future sanctions against Moscow. This runs in tandem with India's ongoing refusal to vote in favor of United Nations resolutions that condemn Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. As recently as December, on a visit to Moscow, India's Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar stated, "For us, Russia has been a steady and time-tested partner, and as I said, any objective evaluation of our relationship over many decades would confirm that it has served both our countries very, very well." Last week also saw Jaishankar meet with his Chinese counterpart Qin Gang, at which both countries agreed to promote the improvement of relations between them. Back in 2020, when the US was rolling out its relationship normalization deals with Middle Eastern states as a counterbalance to ever-increasing Russian and Chinese influence in the region, and wanted to use India as an alternative to China's backstop bid for oil. It was how Washington thought things would play out. Thank you.